Thank you, President Falk, my fellow honorees, trustees, faculty, and the entire Williams community that makes today possible and to makes this world of the Purple Valley possible. And of course, I'd like to congratulate the Olmsted teachers as well, the ones who got the prize. Fantastic. Because you know how teachers are very important to us. Obviously, we're here to help celebrate the class of 2013. Congratulations. We're here to celebrate with you your accomplishments and your achievements, and obviously your contributions. Today is a big day for you, for your families and friends, and for Williams College. When you came to Williams, you made a choice, and it may have been one of the first major decisions of your life. Maybe you came here because it felt more like home for you, like Sarah and the second marshmallow. Or maybe you came to Williams because you look really good in purple and gold, and you welcome any chance to beat Amherst. Yeah. Purple's my favorite color, so that helped me to come here for sure. And as you go forward in your life, you're going to have choices. Some are going to be easy, and some are going to be very challenging for you. Over the years, I've observed people who have inner and outer success. And I've come to rely on 3 key traits to help me to be the best I can be. And in listening to these people through the years, these are the things that keep popping up and coming to mind. Number 1, relationships are everything. Relationships are everything. Number 2, never stop learning. And number 3, be a problem solver. Mr. Parsons, everybody up here, every single person. I've been friends with Williams alum Jonathan and Joshua Kraft since the 70s, and also the entire Kraft family. And my relationship with the Kraft family has been enriching and rewarding, and I cherish their friendship. Relationships are very important because you never know how someone will touch your life or how you're going to touch another person's life. I cannot stress this enough. So be alert as you go through life. Do not be asleep. President Falk, you're right. When I was in 5th grade, actually, Susan Williams was sitting next to me, and she looked at me and said, "Do you want to play tennis?" I said, "What's tennis?" She said, "You don't know anything about tennis?" I said, "I have no idea. What do?" She said, "You get to run, jump, and hit a ball. Those are my 3 most favorite things in sports." I said, "Okay, I'll try it." Then I had my first day of instruction with Clyde Walker at a public park. And he taught me the first lesson I ever learned in tennis was to close the gate. But it was at the end of that day that I knew I'd found what I was going to do with my life. I wanted to be the number 1 tennis player in the world. At 12, I had an epiphany. I was daydreaming, thinking about my sport. And I realized that everyone wore white shoes, white socks, white clothes, played with white balls, and their skin was white. And I asked myself, where is everybody else? At the end of this moment of daydreaming and thinking beyond my sport, I'm thinking, I want to change tennis, but I also want to change sports, and I'd like to change other things if I can along the way. And the essence of it was that I was going to fight for equal rights and opportunities for boys and girls men and women the rest of my life. Fast forward, 1973, I did play this male chauvinist, Bobby Riggs. But I love Bobby Riggs. He was one of my heroes. He was the number one in the world as a former player. And I knew this match I was going to play against him was about social change. June 23rd, 1972, Title IX was passed just a year earlier. In case you don't know what it is. Before 1972, they had gender bias in the schools. A lot of times you could only have a 5% quota in the schools. So I had to win this match because I wanted to start to change the hearts and minds of people to match the legislation. The legislation is very short. It's 37 words. They're very powerful. For me, they're one of the three most important pieces of legislation of the 20th century. When women got the vote in 1920, the civil rights in the 60s, and in 1972 with Title IX. And really what it says, any high school or college or university, private or public, that receives any financial funding, federal funding, has to spend it equally on both genders, boys and girls. So that was huge. Also, in 1973, a woman could not get a credit card on her own without it being co-signed by a male. So now there are more women enrolled in universities and colleges than men, and so now we got to start worrying about the guys. Because we want it to reflect the world's population. When I met with President Obama, we sat down and he said, when I was 12 years old, I watched that match that you played against Bobby Riggs. And it changed my life, especially now that I have 2 daughters. So anytime a woman or a man does something, it's not just for the same gender. You never hear a man does something just for men, usually, do you? But if a woman does something, you always hear that it's only for women. That is not the case. Each human being is an influencer for all of us. You are an influencer for your life. Everyone's an influencer. Number 2, never stop learning. Several years ago, I chose to stop using the word failure. And I call it feedback. I don't know why. It just helps me think more positively about it. Because, boy, do I fail a lot. And I'm scared. This whole journey, I was scared a lot. I was fearful. But I quickly realized as a young person, especially being in sports, that every decision has a consequence. As a ball comes to me, I have a nanosecond to make up my mind about spin, placement, pace. I have to take responsibility for the ball. The ball's a new opportunity. Every single ball's a new opportunity, just like in real life. Every second's a new opportunity. And I have to make a decision, but I have to live with it. If I miss it, I take in the information. It's feedback. And the next time I get a similar shot, I try to make it right. And it's a perfect metaphor for real life. Another aspect of learning, I think, is if you can see it, you can be it. If you can see it, you can be it. I was lucky enough to see the great Althea Gibson, the first person of color to win a major championship when I was 13 years old. She's one of my sheroes, and I love this woman because she'd been through so many battles. And I remember thinking to myself, that's what number 1 looks like. That's what it looks like. That's how good I'm going to have to be, or better, if I'm going to be number 1. So I think it helps children to see it, to be it, or even as adults, if we can see it, it helps us to be it. That's why everyone's a role model. Every single person's a role model. Number 3, be a problem solver. This is huge, especially as fast as the world is moving today with social media. You've got to be nimble. Champions adjust or adapt, always. And I mean champions in life. Sheryl Sandberg is the Chief Operating Officer at Facebook, and in her new book, Lean In, she shares an excellent example of why it is important to be a problem solver. She interviewed a woman for a job at Facebook. The applicant was previously a senior marketing executive at eBay, where most of us would be showcasing our skills and telling them why they should hire us and, talking about ourselves. This person asked Sheryl, "What is your biggest problem and how can I solve it?" What is your biggest problem and how can I solve it? Sheryl told her recruiting, not marketing, recruiting was her biggest challenge. The woman never dreamed she would be working in recruiting, but she jumped in. In the end, she took a job that was a level lower than her previous job, but one that allowed her to acquire new skills. Now she is the senior executive in human resources at Facebook, Lori Gohler, and she never wants to go back to marketing. She got in the solution, and she got the job. And I know many of you will be looking for jobs. As of 2010, the average American had 11 jobs from the age of 18 to 46 alone. And by the time you're in your 30s or 40s, it's probably going to be in the 20s or 30s. So this definitely proves that the 21st century is going to be an exciting and unpredictable time. But it is your time. It's your time to shape the future. Make sure that you define yourself and that others do not define you. Whatever you do, you are not in this alone. It is not a he thing. It's not a she thing. It's not a me thing. It is a we thing. We are in this world together. We need each other. And we need to make sure we commit to helping others. I leave you today with the words of one of the great poets of my generation, Bob Dylan. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the lights surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright, and be strong. And may you stay forever young. Thank you. God bless you.